So we're going off of the syntax we're using. We want to be able for the user to put in information. So the first thing is we need this even before class. Import java.util. We could put scanner right after that last period, but what the asterisk does is it pulls in everything. So it's just a broad way of doing it. So I can go here, before my class, on line 1, I'm going to go import java.util dot asterisk semicolon. Now we'll go ahead and set that up for us. So now we go back. Okay. Constructing a scanner object to read console. So just like we would create any object from the scanner class, we give it a name, new, class name again, system.in is the parameter. We're going to put stuff into this. So let's go ahead and create this object together here. I'm making objects right here, so I'm just going to put it right here. So I'm going to go scanner. I'm just going to call this numbers because that's what we're pulling in right now. Is equal to new scanner system.in. There we go. Okay, so now I've made an object called numbers. That's good. So I can use this again and again to save the information that I want. So now I want to ask the user. So before I do this, I'm going to put a comment in here. So get dimensions from the user. Now I have to declare, if I'm going to create a new variable, I got to declare it. So I'm going to go integer x1 is equal to, and then when we use an object, we always put the object name first. So what's the object name I just created? That's the class name. What's the object name? Numbers. So numbers dot nextInt. I'm going to do the same thing. Integer x2 equals numbers dot nextInt. Again, if you like, hey, let me just double check here, you can always go back to the lecture. This is in the lecture here. New scanner creates it right here. nextInt is the one we're working. They got next double, next line. Okay. This is the, they use it as council as their object's name. We use numbers, but nextInt right there. You can always refer back to that at any point, or you can just refer back to this lab we're doing together here. So I went ahead and I created, oh, that's not the one I want to do. That's your lab 2 solutions. All right. So I got x1, x2. Now I want to make a third rectangle based upon the information that they gave me. So make my last object rectangle. I'm going to call this R3 equals new rectangle x1, x2. So whatever they put in, I'm putting that into this object using the second constructor because it meets those parameters. And then the last thing, let's display R3. R3 dot display. Then when you feel like you got it all that, give it a go. Now when you give it a go and you're waiting and nothing's happening but you're not getting an error, that's because it's waiting for your integers. So let's put in integers. 5, 5, hit enter after each one, and then it spits it out. So if we kind of were left waiting, what we really should have done is we probably should throw some system.out.println and tell the user to enter that. So I'm going to come back here, and before each of these, I'm going to do a system.out.println enter a length of a rectangle And then I'm going to do the same thing here, but do the width or height, whatever I did. Now when it runs, it will go ahead and ask me, and then I'll put them in. So if I run this one more time, okay, enter the length of a rectangle. Oh, okay. 3. Enter the height of a rectangle. Oh, okay. Let's go 300. And then it's still running all of those things inside of there. Okay. Okay, see if you can get that to work. Check with everybody if you have any problems. If you don't have any problems or you do, raise your hand. I can come around to help. Let's just do a quick review of what we just did, because we did a lot just now. First thing we did, we made a class called the rectangle. We clicked this button right here. We gave it a name, and we made sure that it ended with .java. Next thing we did is we made some variables for it. We'll talk more about that in Unit 5. But then we made a constructor for it with no parameters. We would call those formal parameters right here. No formal parameters, and then we have default value of the height and length. The next thing is we did overload the constructors, and we made a second constructor. But in order to make a second one, it has to have different parameters. Well, this had none. We give it 2. There we go. Whatever they put inside here, we'll save those values as height and length. Then we created a method to calculate area, a non-static method because we want to use the object. We created one to calculate perimeter. And then we created a display to run both of those inside the display. And then we went over here to our main. We created those objects. We then used this scanner class to go ahead and create a numbers object. And that numbers object we used twice to save different numbers that the user inputs. Then we created the third object, and we displayed them all using what we did. All right, that is a lot, okay? That is a lot. Good job.